I see what sort of was happening. What I noticed, it's that freaking it's saving it between two partitions. So if the game, there it is. The game is saving on a partition that it can't recognize. You understand what I'm saying? I had a problem with another game that its actual partitions, or how it's programmed to do the save files. As an example, it's on two spots of the disk drive, and Wine, or the program that recognizes program files between A and B, doesn't have authorization to work on the left hand side. Meaning Windows could work. Windows files or programs could probably use and look for within the Windows or the partition, the section for the Windows environment, but not the other way around. Windows can't, if the game naturally makes a save file in another side, in the other side of the partition, it's not going to be able to see the it's not going to be able to see the save. And I recognized why the game was hanging up, because I moved the documents. I moved the documents that were outside the partition or the save of the game from the Mac side into the Windows side, and my save deleted. So it's hanging up. Basically, the game is not working right now because it's working from one side, and it's looking for a save file in a place where Windows has no authority. I moved the entire file into the Windows side. We're going to see if it recognizes just the file name, because if it doesn't, there's an installation program error. Yeah, you see that? There's an installation program error. The second I opened it, it's adding information to the Mac side, not the Windows side. So let's see how we do it. Let's see if there's any. The save file that it has is not working. Let's uninstall and install and see what it does. It's gonna take a while to install too. All right. Move to trash. was checking these preferences. It's just a port error. Let's see. It's saving in the wrong place. And Windows can't read between two computers. I don't know why I did that, but it installed on both partitions. I might not stream, I might pass out. I went to sleep at maybe 6 in the morning and I woke up at noon today, and right now it's 10 and I want to crash. I really wanted to play, but like it's not working immediately. This is too much of a lengthy process. This is too much of a lengthy process to set this shit up. Remember, you're dealing with fucking Linux and shit. Guessing that's what fucking Wine is. It's like a Linux program inside Mac. So it's fucking annoying. Hold on. So yeah, let's delete this. Delete this entire root file right here and start from the top. Start from the top and see where they're going to. Or options. See that? Install game to see. It's like, you think I'm dumb, but you're going to install the game on the Windows side instead of installing the game on the Mac side. So what I should do is install the game on the Mac side and see if it finds it or it reads it. All right. All right. Right here. If you're going to do the save in this file, let's install it there, and let's see what is going to happen. All right, so this is going to take a while. Last night it took a little bit, but we'll see if it starts hanging up. And I'm pretty sure it's because of that. It's because Windows can't. Hold on. Because fucking Windows can't see across boundaries. The Linux Wine program could only see what's inside the partition. Could only see what's inside, and anything outside doesn't see. And if what's inside the bubble is saving something outside the bubble, the game itself cannot see the actual save file. That's why it hangs, because it's looking for the autosave. It's looking for the autosave and it can't find the autosave. So I'm reinstalling the game right now. And we're going to test this shit out. Hopefully it doesn't fucking hang. Hopefully there's no issue from the Linux program, regardless of where I install it. Even if the root files, even if what's going to run it is inside a bubble. And see what's going to happen. So yeah, today, check this shit out. Today, I cried. I cried for a specific fucking reason today. Hold on, I'm looking for the victory moment. Gotta catch the newspaper periodical. Hold on. Yeah, this shit's installing. Let's do window capture. Fucking look at that. What the fuck is it? Look at that. Look at this man. Look how happy this guy is. Look how happy this guy is right now. See that? See? Wait, hold on. Right here. See how happy this guy is? That's Kelly Slater. I fucking cried today because this guy won and shit. I did. He's 50. 49 years old. 49 years old right now. Turns 50 years old in a little bit. And I know him. He's come to me, which is pretty fucking crazy. He's come to me in the lineup, and I know him since I was 18, 19 years old. Fucking. And he won for the 8th time. He's been surfing since he was 12. The first time he surfed this very dangerous as fuck wave was when he was 12. So imagine, he's 50. He's done this, celebrate each time he wins like a superhero for most of his entire fucking life. It's fucking crazy. That's all this guy does. Sleep, eat, shit, surfing. Win like a motherfucker. 11 world titles. 8 pipeline victories. And the things that he said tonight, made me cry because he was talking about everything. It's like a brother. You see that? That's a fucking brother. We have the same ideas about the same people. Like, I don't need to listen to his opinion before having the same opinion as he does on certain views and certain ideas. And just a cultural thing. A literal cultural thing. Something that goes beyond into what all the guys that ride waves do. Or the best guy that ride. I have feelings for the same people, for the same reasons, and that guy's a brother. It's a fucking brother. It's fucking crazy. He's a brother. Why is he a brother? Because in my brain, my ideas of how I see the world are exactly like how he sees his. Showing respect for the same people, for the same values, for the same individual, it's the same thing. Like, it's just like boom. And I'm going to share what I wrote here on stream so you guys have a what I wrote in his page, because I'm pretty sure he reads. He likes to read. He has to read. He has nothing else but do to read. All he has right now, if he does ever quit surfing, play golf, and not compete. Still surf, but not compete. So hold on. Let me read the message that I left him. It's like a brother. Like, when you think about the same things and have the same views about the same people and think the same exact thing, and what I was thinking before the contest started, that this guy right here, who has we can't see right here, but on this leg was the competitor that he was in the water. Basically, the guy that got second place or got podium is also started to hold him in his shoulder so that sand doesn't get on his feet, which is a tradition in surfing culture. From the moment he got out from the contest, he picked him up right there. The second player kid, and he's a kid. He's way younger. He's probably like 20, no, much less than 30 years old, and he was immature in terms of how I would have liked to perform, because we all perform differently. And the guy that got second place had butterfingers. That's the correct term, butterfingers. When you have butterfingers, that you're just nervous and you can't shoot the ball. When you shoot a jump, like when you need to hit a 3-pointer or a very simple basketball shot, you get an air ball and shit. So that's what the guy that held him up had, and because he was young, You know, like when you're a little bit mature, you sort of see it how I wanted to see it, which was I'm still going to perform at 100% in this contest with this man, but this is the moment for this man. This is the moment where I'm not here to be an asshole and beat Kelly Slater on his last contest when he's in the finals. You understand what I'm saying? The second guy, this kid, we're gonna look for him in a little bit. Let's dim out. Let's dim out the image for a little bit. This kid. No, let's look for him. Let's look for him a little bit. And he was crying. He was crying. And I was crying. Because it's his last one. You understand what I'm saying? And when it's your last shit after 30 years in the shit, nah, more than 30 years. You're 50. You wasted from 12 years old until you're 49 on something. You know, you see me talking in a certain tone about the things that I've accomplished in my life. This is the guy right here. I'll put him right here. Wait, let's put him right here. This is the guy that got second place in this contest. You see me talking about shit that I spent 20 years of my life in certain things, and
I don't know how to respond to that.
Shut up. Spent 20 years in my life in certain things and haven't paid much attention to what I do, or right about at the edge of the cusp of something of a paid level or some independent level. Support either halt, or I'm kicked out of my house, or people try to buy themselves in, or people start sucking dick and taking dick up the ass, as their layman's terms, reality. They start trying to stop people from paying attention to me. So this guy was the kid that got second place, and he immediately grabbed him from the water. He was already emotional. You could see him crying before he went in the water with him, because he knows. And it's something that I felt before the semifinals even started. Before the day even started, I knew that this boy right here, look at him. This boy right here. Hold on. Let's go back to the championship picture. Hold on. Go back to the... Wait, hold on. So that I don't get a still image, proprietary, blah blah blah, from the WSL without the written permission, recognizing that I'm literally, that I know all these, half of these fucking kids in a lineup. I know this kid right here. Hold on. The fuck is this picture? This shit was so funny. I lost him. Hold on. Alright, right here. All happy like a motherfucker. All happy. Yeah! Good. Yeah! Yeah, like that. Like, yeah, I'm happy as fuck for not winning this shit. So, yeah. Before the shit even started, I was already eyeballing the situation, and he's already saying that he's going to stop competing. Which means his back hurts. Like my vandalized back, my hurt back by people that are here, that they have tried to hurt my back, to give me problems like those. And his playing of golf or whatever, he's just getting away from the North Shore. or likely stopping what he has been doing in the last 38 years. I wasted 20 of mine in 2 different sports. 20. Completely wasted in what I wanted to do. 20. Completely wasted. And this guy wasted 38 in this. Completely successful. It's 2 different styles of stories. You know, it's 2 different views of a world champion superhero and me, who's just a bum that likes to sleep and just likes doing certain things until he's good at it and gets the attention of people. Just like him, literally gets the attention of people like him. They come to me like that, just paddle to me in the morning. It's like, oh, I thought you were so and so, and just stares at you in the morning and shit. So before the shit show happened and he won, I knew that he had to be let to win. They had to let him win. And if you're a competitor in that competition, it's a no contest. It's a no contest. It's like not a pussy fit or a rage fit or I quit right here moment. It's more like, let's make it more a demo session. You know? Let's make this a demo session. Not like I'm not afraid. Nah, let's give the crowd what they want. And he provided I yelled twice top of my lungs in the last 2 final waves for that same exact reason. I'm gonna stop here right now and we're going to deliver. We're gonna make the crowd scream like motherfuckers. And you gotta perform. But with a twist. Not being so aggressive. Which somewhat, number 2, the kid that I show you, had that. He already came bloated, tired, took 2 massive 20-foot waves to the head. He came exhausted in there. This guy, 49, came in there with a turbo nitrous car. He went in that beach for that final, gas on full, on 93 octane, nitrous, and turbo. He went in there to kick your ass. You know, obviously after 30 years, it's like the correct term is how do you call it? It's a surgeon. If you're like a nurse, an RN, in terms of skill inside, you know, the medicine field, this guy's the fucking brain surgeon. 38 years and something doing exactly what you're doing, you know? Exactly what you're doing. So the experience plays an insane role in this. I seen him do certain things. I messaged him before the shit began. I'm like, yeah, so take the shit. Don't take the shit lightly. Box these guys out in there, get in the way, barrel the shit out of your mind. Like that. My conversation, smoke a joint, embrace the moment. Those are my actual messages. Smoke a joint, embrace the embrace the moment, and I explained to him the old school motion, what I used to do when I was a grom or a kid, that I used to, instead of, most people take off on a wave and they go like this down and then they turn into the direction of where they're going, which is technically a simple direction. You take off, you go to the direction that you're going. But when this motherfucker fucking wanted more of the pleasure, because it's like a pleasure ratio, you know, like you get pleasure each time you ride a wave in a particular way. So to extend your pleasure, if the waves are absolutely symmetrical, are the same, breaking in the same spot, have good size, are barreling, you're able to anticipate and time when the wave is going to break. So you have extreme timing. And I used to, when I was, maybe until my 21, 22 years old, take off on a wave when I'm going this way, and I'm really taking off this way. Understand what I'm saying? So I'm taking off this way, and then I'm turning the plane after the wave right here on the face is going up. You know, it's cresting, going up, 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 and then I'm turning from all the way down that way to go that way. And that's what I explained to him what to do. And also to drag the hand to the shoulder, you know, slow the fuck down, all the way down to the shampoo hole, not quit early. And he did everything. Sort of got nervous in the end, and his stance has changed a lot since the foot surgery. His stance is, he's broken. Kelly Slater has continued to perform at the turbo nitrous level, and his foot and his balance is fucked up. He walks wrong. He was limping today. I saw him limp, and he still made it. And you could tell not only that he was limping, but when it sort of started, because there was a particular wave in the finals that his board or his ankle tendons started to wiggle. You could see the wiggling effect of the tendons, which is either tons of emotion, nervousness, you know, like the speed wobbles in a skateboard, or you're hurt. You're riding the fucking wave hurt, and your balance is not the same because one of the ligaments in your foot between the tendon is too fucking loose in that motherfucker, and the joint of your foot and your ankle is just loose. So yeah. The kid tried put on a show after Kelly had secured the win, obviously, but he was sort of a little bit immature. He was saying maybe he was actually giving the contest to Kelly. Maybe he was, how do you call it? Maybe he was actually tired or had butterfingers in what could have been a complete loss for Kelly. But he has that respect and that ohana in him, that family and that respect on this shit. That's the guy that everyone gets excited when they see with them in the water. From the youngest age. I remember having received 200, 300 surfing magazines, 500 surfing magazines in my lifetime, at least, from all types. Skateboarding magazines, like 100 of them. At least, like 100 of them. 60, 70 skateboarding magazines in various months in my younger years. And on every single surfing one, this man was in it. Nathan Fletcher was in it. Andy Irons was in it. Tom Curran was in it. Healy was in it. Specific guys that you grew up and you noticed makes you. Like you're looking at a fucking magazine when you have no identity, which is the correct term. You're a young kid, you have no identity. You open this fucking magazine and you see clothes. And you say, I want to dress like that. That's what guys dress like. That's what guys dress like. So I want to dress like that. Bang. You get a shirt. That's what I want, shorts. Get shorts. And then, I want sandals. I want to go to the beach. I want to do that. And then you start going deeper in a cultural way how you assimilate surf culture in general and how it becomes a part of you, or how it become a part of you from the start, from the magazines, from how you visually consumed media and where the content came from, and how psychological development in children is that you see things and you want that shit. I want clothes. I want a surfboard. I want a bodyboard. I want this and that. I want to ride waves. I want clothes. I want to be just like them. Not down to directly just like them, but, grab something of it that builds your character and it becomes a permanent part of you, especially in those younger years. So you could call me a surfer because, or someone that rode that, focused on riding a bunch of waves in their entire life, because I had 300 fucking magazines to sort of advise me on how to do it. It came to a point after having 300 surfing magazines that I rode magazine waves. I focused on it and I rode magazine waves. Like you see, most people, when they focus on it, they're not looking for magazine waves. They're looking for some waves or whatever the fuck's out in their surf spot. But I took a little bit more detail into how I wanted to do it, and I got to ride, magazines class waves. Or over time, enough pressure, enough consistency, you get to ride magazine waves in this shit. Because you fucking do it. It isn't just riding some bullshit. You got to be there every day. You got to like it a little bit more often, or it has to become a part of your life for you to say when you come back home after riding some waves that, my ass is sore. You to come home after riding some waves that, fucking today just look just like this in the morning. Like, goddamn, like it's fucking perfect. It was perfect this morning. I got a massive barrel ride. I barreled better than these motherfuckers. I barreled good as hell. So yeah, he won. Case closed. Seth Muniz grabbed him out the water in respect. He had a super late start. If it was me or if it was Andy Irons, something would have happened. That shit would have been a fucking mystery moment for this guy. This guy could have, if Andy was around as his only competitor in his age group, because Andy died of substance abuse and dengue complications. I think it's like 2009 or some shit like that. 2011 or some shit like that. I think he died earlier than that. I don't know. So yeah, Andy died. This guy lost his only fucking competitor, or his only challenge, at his age group for the most part. His real conference, his the only guy that could take that shit from him in a particular point. And it would have, the man, Andy, being alive would have redefined who he is today. Pushed him to be even better. Because when he lost Andy, everyone went on a psychological trip. I cried. And Andy was a guy that I knew since I stopped going to high school in 2003. Because I came from the United States back to Puerto Rico. And I stopped going to high school, and I took a bicycle to the beach, and there was the guy that was his only competitor, Andy Irons, which passed away. I got to see his son today. His son's it's his clone. Axel Irons is his fucking clone. So yeah. If Muniz was a little bit mature, there would have been a lot of strong bow rides in the beginning, and then a realization that, wait a minute, this is Kelly's moment. It's Kelly's turn to go. No matter the age, because this man just said he's about to retire. So there's a sense of sportsmanship. There's a sense of second place. There's a sense of teamwork. There's a sense of just, even before the finals start, saying, I'm done. World champion. And that's it. And walk away from it. And give that man the fucking thing that they put the shit on you or whatever without having to do anything. They'll give you the trophy and you walk away at a second place, or a DQ, suspended, or disqualified, or whatever, and he wins. Because that's the objective. The objective is to do the right thing respectfully. The right thing. And the right thing is not always winning, but it's sometimes losing. Or not losing, objectively losing. Because if you are the best, you recognize others who are the best. And that's how I operate. I'm not sitting here to, a dick measuring contest when it comes to a competitor. If I know the fucking best, and I'm competing with the best, and it's just us two out there, I'm gonna let you win. If I know that you are better than me, or that if you deserve this win, I'm gonna let you win. I'll keep number 2. Fuck it. We're both winners. We're both good as hell. You understand what I'm saying? That's the logic. That's how my mind operates. I'm the best in the world. I got world-class talent. I'm sitting here, the best world-class talent in this motherfucker. Fuck it. Let him win. I know he's the best. The world, the second world's best. No, that guy's number 1. Just stop. Just stop right there. What you think before you win on this particular contest, give him another trophy, please. Just for the sake of humanity. Think to yourself before you go to sleep and say, I gave Kelly, or I helped Kelly get another trophy. That's more valuable than I won the finals and I beat Kelly Slater on his retirement contest or his possible retirement contest, because we don't know if he's going to retire this year and he's going to start surfing afterwards, or if he isn't. I don't know. It's his decision. Just whatever he fucking wants to do, he does. But I've been in contact with this guy. This guy has come to me like a real superhero, and I see him as a superhero. And I remember him when I was 18 years old, bruh. I remember getting barreled out of my fucking life in my prime before I even went pro, before I started doing maneuvers that were pro. Because that's how I thought. I have a particular timeline on where I feel I went pro based on the things that I did, that everyone started giving me physical accolades. Once I started hanging out with celebrities or whatever, that's when I was pro. Not a pro that won contests, but pro that people know that you're good as fuck and they respect you for it. That you don't need to win a fucking world title or whatever before, respect comes first, then the trophy or whatever. So before I got that good, this man was with me. And Mike Stewart and Andy. This guy. And you know what this guy did to me one time? I remember getting battled out of my fucking mind. Out of my fucking mind. But I mean, deep as a motherfucker, slow as a motherfucker, and the wave didn't even think about ending. We're talking about a wave that just went like this. And stayed in a tunnel formation, or complete, like a fucking circle. A tunnel. Like this. For the longest amount of fucking time. It wasn't like, it's over. I just stayed like that. For a long time. I got in that motherfucker. And I kept staying in the tube. The wave peeled or broke so soft and so nice. I was in the shadow, in the pit, all the time. Every single wave. And I didn't let anyone ride the good wave. That was one particular trait that I had when I was really young. By, the years that I got good after I met Andy. Because I met Andy, and Andy was like in the middle of the lineup, and I was sort of on the side, and I was going there every day, and I sort of started to join from where I was to where he was, and he used to return to the beach, and I used to just chill with him. An actual fucking world champion. His competitor used to come to my beach by himself, smoking his marijuana or whatever, and staying with me until nighttime. 7:30 p.m. in the water with me, and get in his car and drive wherever the fuck he's going. So those days, before I even turned pro, this guy got his head in the barrel, and he kept doing it. I kept taking off, right? Kept taking off. and I'm fucking tube riding like a motherfucker. But I mean, deep in the curtain, like in here, looking at you in the shadow, like, what's up, my guy? And imagine me this deep inside that fucking tunnel. The tip of the finger is my head, all the way, until the wave stops. So all the way in here, fucking camera, all the way in here, like, what's up, my guy? I'm looking at you. So that year, that fucking night, we rode that day from, I don't know, maybe like 3 p.m. until about nighttime. Kelly kept me doing this shit. This guy kept getting his head inside the barrel. So his head would just poke out while I'm in the barrel, deep as a motherfucker. Because I used to be a phenomenon. You know, what I did, phenomenon. Out of this world, UFO shit. And that was just the beginning. What I did afterwards is professional shit. So I'm in the fucking pocket, and this guy just starts smiling at me like, it comes in the water. And again, and each time I took away, Kelly's head would breach the surface, and you would just see the head inside the barrel looking at me, like just the head. Just imagine his head right here, like this, looking at me and smiling, then looking like this inside. And I look to the side, and his head's fucking looking at me as I'm driving the barrel at really slow but very special and unique ability of doing where the pleasure is at. I became a pleasure master. I'm like King Orgasm in riding waves. I am the pleasure king. To the point that I started doing what I just mentioned in the beginning of the stream, that instead of taking off like that and then getting barreled, I was just like, and once I got really fast and really good, leading to my professional caliber, go like that, go the other way, wait for this thing to start fucking going like this, and then in comes the surfer from the other side of the bay, in front of the whole mountain of water like that. In front of the mountain of water come this and grab the first time it starts barreling to get in it. I'm a freak show, just like this guy, of nature. Freaks. Real freaks to this shit. Freaky shit. I did that. Started doing that since I was a little kid. So, let's read now what I wrote on this motherfucker's page. Kelly Slater Roberts, on Robert's page. Seth, which is the guy the second place, Seth knew exactly what respect and ohana means. There's a certain virtue associated with surfers on such concepts. Respect and ohana. Respect is something that is so fucking basic. You understand what respect is? What is respect? Think about respect, break it down, and then on a cultural surfing level, what is respect? It's completely fucking different in a surfing world. You can have respect for your parents, you have respect for authority, you have respect to the law, you have different types of respect. But there's a specific respect in surfing that only the culture of surfing could understand, or only the people that had the chance when they were growing up to have 300 magazines understand. Outside of this group, it's really hard to communicate the same values. And as a doctoral practitioner, or as a scholar, practitioner, leader, it's really difficult. It's something that it's just like speaking in a different language. And we ain't talking about the shaka or the fucking the cook or whatever. We're not talking about slang words or terminology or how surfers communicate. It's how they see everything in surf culture. There's an imminent sense of respect in this shit that others have respected those above and respect those above and respected those above. It's extremely specific to this type of respect that I'm talking about. Not only that, but the respect you got for other people is in the water, because there's an order of things. So you gotta respect, the person that's in the water. Why? Because they could drown. It isn't a fucking. It isn't. I'm gonna grab the first wave. It's like a code. Surfers live in a code in which they take turns doing things. They have this thing that they involve themselves, or they go deep in something that controls them, like the military. Like they go to attention. You got to say everything with yes sir. The same things at a psychological level. Surfers do things between themselves and the water that are technically autopilot, and they involve these values like respect, like family, like these things, something that's deeper, that's ingrained, that's autopilot, and that's in your consciousness. So let's continue writing what I wrote, Robert, because I know he read it, and he knows exactly who I am. If he doesn't remember, he has Parkinson's or Alzheimer's, but he'll quickly catch up. He'll be like, hey, remember that? Oh, yeah, that kid. All right. So, let's keep it going. There's a certain virtue associated with surfers on such concepts. It's inside of us forever. These values, what we think, it's forever. It's how we see the world, and it's permanent. Surfers, water people, see the world, especially in surf culture, indefinite. It's forever. We see the world like this, and you cannot change our mind from how things should be, because there would be chaos. If we don't have respect for each other out there, people would be dropping on each other's waves, and it'd be some type of very primitive situation. Chaos. Call it chaos. Death out there. It's fucking death. Death. You don't got respect for each other out there? Death. People drowning in this mother. People choking on seawater like, nah. So, it's inside of us forever. Like your first barrel, who are you with? With what happened? Who are you with? What happened? How? And how this drive the path of your life. How this barrel, the first time you went inside a tunnel of water, and how that shit fucked you forever. Fucked you. That shit fucked me for 20 years. 20 years. That first barrel fucked me for 20 years. But Robert got it worse. Robert got it way worse. Robert got fucked by that shit for 38 years. He knows nothing else about this. Nothing else. And as I was writing this message and seeing the vibrations of him quitting, I immediately thought of suicide. I swear to God. I'm like a devil or some shit like that that's thinking of the most negative shit that I really wanted to post after my post on his message thing, the number for the National Suicide Hotline, just in case. Because I don't want to directly tell him that it's okay if you quit, because it's hard dealing with superheroes. It's telling Superman what Robert's going to go through at 50 years old. It's like telling Superman he can't save the world no more, and he has to sit down. It's hard. It's a psychologically crushing event or the realization that you were once a fucking superhero or Superman, and now you don't have that no more. Understand what I'm saying? You don't have that no more. So I immediately thought about suicide based on his likely separation from the World Surfing League, 38 years in it, and how a man's brain could think of solutions or how to cope with having to fucking stop this shit. He might want to restart his life. And if he restarts his life by shooting himself in the head or dying or whatever, God forbid that shit happens to him, it'd be quick. He'd be back in surfing within 11 years of him killing himself, if he fucking, if how do you call it, if the theory of reincarnation is correct, if this is all a game and we all repeat our lifetimes when we die, before, he's going to have, Robert's going to have 3 to 4 years at most of consciousness that he remembers, and then it's going to be surfing from then on till the moment that he kills himself again. So you think about the value of time in terms of, and how could it affect someone specifically dealing with people like us, 20 years, 35 years, and then what? What now? If you're a superhero and now you can't do the most fun shit. Because, a job could break your back. A job, you could get tired of your job, less money or whatever. But this is fun. This is some type of drug. This is a sport that you're really good at. This isn't like some desk job or some scientist job or some doctor job or whatever that you had in your life. You can't do this shit no more. It's like, whatever. I'll do something else and sit back down. This gives pleasure. This ties the man in his head to pleasure. It's pleasurable to be Superman. It's pleasurable as fuck to be a superhero. To be a historical figure in a sport. His separation from it in his head needs to have strong support. Keep him extremely occupied and just keep him surfing. No contest. No contest, but you're going to continue to surf until you can't no more, until you quit yourself. I know for a fact he doesn't want to quit himself. He's already thinking that his back hurts and certain things hurt. You could tell that he's broken because his broken fucking foot took his balance. His broken foot was recent. He broke his foot when he was like 45, 44, some shit like that. It'd been 4 or 5 years since that fucking foot breaking. He broke that foot in Jeffreys Bay or some shit like that. The board came up and it literally shattered all his toes, and he's still broken from that. When you're old, bones and metal and all that shit don't work right. And he's putting himself through pain to deal with this shit, to do this shit like a superhero, a real superhero. So let's keep going. It's a really big message, so let's keep going. I don't want to continue breaking it down. I want to finish the whole message. All right. It's like me growing up, I had Nathan and John Flores staring at me in the barrel. Because I did that. I got people that are world champions in my face. Kids that stared at me when I did it are world champions. Literally. I told them. World champions. Right there. Talking to me and shit in the lineup. They were kids. Grommets. Curious. That's what I said. The message said that how those two kids were just curious of how I barreled. The stories that I got with them, how I remember them, and the way that I communicated with those two kids. How it felt in the water when you were the first time with a pro surfer. That's another message. It's like it's a unique message. The first time you were in the water with a pro surfer. And what were you doing? And what happened? Well, you skipped high school and now you were with this guy who was in a magazine. Who that in the 300 magazines you've received, this man is in the water here with you. And you're like, oh shit. That rush, and you have him in your house, open, on top of the hamper in the bathroom. Like you have this man's picture in a massive fucking barrel ride across the world, inside the bathroom, where you usually take your shits and look at magazine pretty pictures. And then you have him in the water next to you. When you're 19 years old, like, oh shit. Oh shit, that's surprise. That's like a oof. World champion in your face. Bam. It's you and him now. All day here. Oh shit, It starts to hit you. Little by little, like bah, bah, bah. Alright. Keep it going. And like, again, the same message. How? Like watching an 8-time pipe champion recognizing he loves and appreciates the same things. The same people, almost brotherly. So there I tied the virtue that we all have together based on how I remember world champions as kids. Who started this shit with? Who you started with this shit, who you started this shit with in the beginning, the people that you shared the water with, your first instance, or the first time you seen a pro surfer, like, oh my goodness, this guy. And then seeing this guy talk about Andy Irons in his last fucking contest, or his possible last contest. The way he spoke about him, it's just like, I started crying right there because he started mentioning his kid, and he said, yeah, if it wasn't for his fucking dad, I wouldn't been able to do shit. And that's the same way I think. That's literally the same fucking idea of how I think. Identical. Said the same exact thing about how I see what I've accomplished in the sport, regardless if I won 11 fucking world championships. And we think the same exact thing about the same people, and this isn't made up. So there's a huge, we think the same, period. And I'm pretty sure everyone that's in this community thinks the same way. AI was the shit. AI was your best friend. AI is who you wanted to be with. AI was the guy that made you cool. AI was the guy that dressed you. AI was the guy that, that you were motivated as fuck with every time you open a fucking magazine. And AI was the guy that in the end, after he passed away, you gave it all for. You gave it all for. You dedicated what you did to him. This guy dedicated in 38 years of his life, his win, or his entire ensemble, to Andy Irons. The same guy that I was in his house crying like a motherfucker for. The same guy that I remember since I was 19 years old. And it's all the same, this particular generation. I'm 85. Kelly's 12 years older than me. So there's a big distinction in generation. So the brand sees them, Billabong, as an example, sees Andy as the center of many things after his passing. Obviously, it hurt the brand, and it hurt everything very much. So Andy was already a center, or technically the other side of the cell in terms of competition. The nature of the sport between Kelly and Andy was basically would drive all the money. The battle between those two guys was basically, like I said, Kelly's only competitor was Andy Irons. So the brand recognized him for what he did to the sport and his life, which is technically someone that they was about to give their whole life to it, just like Kelly did for 38 years. Andy was going to do the same thing. Same thing. The same thing. In the water from birth to grave. Birth to grave to get to 50 and say, oh shit, what the fuck do I do now? Like, oh my goodness, should I do this now? And Andy would have probably driven Kelly to be more competitive. Like, probably could have won more. We could have seen hell of a more competition out of this guy. Way more competition, because after you lost him, this guy got Grimes and kids to play with. The real macho shit inside this guy was there because he wanted to be, he still ended up a surgical surfer, a literal brain surgeon in the fucking sport. But he didn't have someone of that same age group to be like, aha, got you right here. Us two. Which, for the final, and the example would have been, two guys barreling their fucking brains off for 39 minutes. back to back to back to back to back to back. Boxing each other out, not letting people, trying to get in the way when you're trying to go, hunting the best waves. Tight, strong stuff, not like old and young. Kelly took advantage of this for the, since the 10 years that Andy Irons has died to, still compete, but he didn't have a real competitor. His only competitor was the guy that he devoted his entire, life to, or that he dedicated his win to, his 8th Pipeline Pro win, which is Andy, because that guy binded everyone's lives, man. He touched me deep in my pussy hole. Andy Irons touched me forever. Ever. It's someone that was inside those 300 magazines 85% of the time. Think about that shit. 85% of the time that motherfucker was in those 300 magazines. So you're looking at his life. You go back after purchasing 300 magazines, consuming all that mass media from surfing, and you're observing Kelly, you're observing Andy as a child, 13, 14, 15, 16 at most magazines, 4 or 5 years of magazines, maybe until 18, or about 12, 13, until 18, 19, I stopped getting magazines. So 6 years of straight magazines, 6, 7 years of magazines, consistently. And those were the two guys that you saw. Their lives, their trips, where they went, their stories, their image, how they dressed. And they bind what you want to do. They literally bind what you want to do in life. So when Kelly mentioned that, it's your dad was the shit. Your dad's the reason I'm here. That's real shit. Your dad is the reason. This wasn't for me. I'm not here because of me. I'm here because of your dad that you didn't get to meet or whatever. Because he was that influential. It's something that everyone within the culture recognizes based on family and respect. That, I don't know, some of us are lucky as fuck like me, and some of us are not. The rest of them aren't that lucky to be around pro surfers, but I was definitely blessed to be around such a wild cast of the best surfers in the planet for a significant amount of my life. Spent 20 years on it. Guessing more than 50%, I was surrounded by surfing royalty. More than 50% of those 20 years. 10 years of my life, I was eyeballed by the best in the world, or around the future best in the world, and the old best in the world, like Robert here. All right. So continue the same letter or comment. Seth knew what to do. I was saying to myself that he was immature and that this was your moment. Where in the end, he still has 25 years to his name to achieve great things. The kid that picked him up out of the water, he has his entire life. Robert's about to quit this shit after 38 years. He's fucking broken. It's all hurting. He wants to play golf and sit. He doesn't want to do anything. No, he wants to play golf, have fun, ride some waves, party or whatever. But he doesn't want to deal with this shit no more. Or he might. He might have a whole year left in him. His whole 50. And then retire at the cusp of 51 next year. I cried. The whole emotion between warriors, you in the water, enjoying the moment, and out of the water on what seems something that should never end. It should have never ended. That's all he did for 38 years. Like, you work hard for 38 years to achieve what he did in those 39 minutes, which is basically winning. But there's an additional concept, like I said, the daily pleasure of doing this shit. It's like, he could die. In my opinion, Kelly could die at any moment. The second he quits, he needs extensive assistance. Extensive. He needs to be put in positions in which they just give him a lot of fun. Trips, travel, money. Don't let him sit down in his house and then think like, oh, what am I going to do today? Nah, he can't do that. He has to be up and doing shit. Because he's the best in the world. And you got to give him, you got to keep him extremely occupied so that brain, when that game decides to, when his brain decides to rest, he already forgot that he doesn't compete no more. But at the moment that he realizes or decides that he doesn't want to compete no more, they have to focus on him to be extremely occupied. Put him surf, make him go to surf, take pictures of him, sit. If he wants to go sleep, let him fucking sleep. Let him do whatever the fuck he has to do, but keep him occupied. His brain occupied in his head so that clouds of mysterious guilt don't chew on his will to live. You don't want to let this negative shit chew on his will to live and leading to something bad happen to him after 38 years. Maybe smoking cannabis could help. Maybe good friends, trip surfing, good waves. Just keep surfing but not competing. Still do it until the wheels fall off, but no competitions. Like, out. No more. Like that. Vanish from that shit. Alright. Here we go. Here I talk about Andy. Andy changed every single one of our lives immensely. Andy, his only competitor. The guy he owed everything to. For the most part. From then till then. Everything. Because it's just him. After he died, to get more. And it just the concept of respect in the surf culture. You win. If you're like this guy, it's Kelly. You gotta let him win. Winning is what he does. Maybe when you're in your ego trip, you want to win. But for someone like Kelly, and you recognizing that you're not that man, the true competitor comes out of people and say, no, I'm number 2. I'm not going to beat Kelly right now. Fuck this shit. I want podium. I want money. I'm getting the fuck out. Like that. Or the no contest. Like, yeah, Kobe, a world champion knows who is the best in the world and who isn't and will let you win. Because that's true sportsmanship. That's true teamwork. That isn't like a cheat. That isn't giving up. That isn't none of that. That's real teamwork and real sportsmanship. It's like, nah. The GOAT, fuck it. I'm gonna try to ride the best wave of my life, but I'll make sure that I'm not too excited about being here. I'm gonna be just like this, nervous. Like, no, I'm not. I'll take this one. Yeah, it's probably gonna be an 8, or just hear the crowd yelling for this guy, and maybe just ride this barrel. Like, yeah, I'm gonna ride this one, and that's it. And then relax and think about it. It's like, oh man, how long? Oh my goodness, 30 more minutes. What am I gonna do? No waves. 25 minutes. Should I hustle? Nah, just chill, Kelly. Let him go. Just let him go. And he did. Seth Muniz did the right thing and let him go. All right. Start with the Andy comment. Andy changed every single one of our lives immensely. It not only gave me character, made me cool. I'm cool as fuck because of him. Without that, I would have never found that identity. Main drivers of identity here are Kelly and Andy, and anyone else before. Nathan Fletcher, Carol, Healy, old guys in the magazine or randoms in the magazines, and the brands, obviously. Identity. What you grab, taste, absorb. What becomes you, who you become. Made me cool, dressed me, taught me the meaning of culture, but also bound this concept of respect on Ohana to everything associated with surfing and riding waves. That's what some of us in this group appreciate. Fucking respect and family, man. That's it. That's it. And me thinking almost in a supernatural way about the sport, like Robert here, tells me that we're all the same. We think the same. We're like a tribe of some sort that thinks the fucking same. We all believe the same shit. We all love the same shit. And we're literally Ohana. We're literally Ohana. All surfers, depending on where you're from. Remember, some surfers do it for personal reasons, and some surfers are more the 300 magazines, the history, the history, the bulk, the alma mater, the shit, the real shit from it. See it in a particular way. So you see a surfer out there, you might not understand what respect on Ohana mean, but those that have 300 magazines and are sort of following it, sport, etc., there's a lot of families, a lot of respect to it. That's all that's all that there is. That's the most basic fucking thing that there is on that shit. Those are the two most basic virtues on that fucking shit. None else. If not, pure chaos. Complete, no stability, no nothing. Family and respect. Take care. You showed me so much today, and I realized that we all recognize the same things. What you should do next should not affect your past or future. Here I am doubtful to mention his mental health. Doubtful. That's a motherfucker. Because it's real shit, man. It's real fucking shit. 38 years, you might get sad as a motherfucker. You're not competing. And then you quickly deteriorate because you're not in your zone. And then you pass away or whatever. 50 years old, 15, 20. Kelly has like 30 more years. Think about it. 50, 60, 70, 80, 30, 35 more years of life. So it's serious shit. Time goes like that. And you're incapable of doing the special shit right there, 50, 60. And the guys from the World Surfing Tour were sort of mentioning, if he continues, it's going to be great to see him at 60. It's going to be great to see him at 60 competing at the caliber of boys. Because all that matters is the caliber. You understand what I'm saying? All that matters is that you're good as fuck. You could be any age in this shit. And remember, there were legends in this sport that were good as fuck. Before and after they died. We got the whole family that had notable figures in this particular sport. Ho. H-O. The whole family had particular older figures, older than Kelly's generation, that until recently ripped hella hard in pipeline. We're talking about deep in the motherfucking barrel until their late 60s and they passed away. This is something that people can do and could still be a fucking the best in the world. Have a likelihood, Kelly has a high likelihood of still being the best in the world at 55, from 55 to 60. 5 years from now, I can see this guy still ripping hella fucking hard too. But, obviously, deterioration of the body, the joints, his will to do it. 38 years. He said it on stage, said, I fucking hate this. Like, he literally said, I hate it. I love it, but I hate it. Because, he's 38 years. I hate it. And then after he hated it, he stopped for a minute, grabbed the mic. I want to say something else, and then mentioned Andy's son. Because it's the same thing that's in our conscience. We all think the same shit. We all believe the same. We all know the same story in this. We're all from the same family. We're cut from the same blade. A Chinese proverb. A tree could grow to 10 million years, but the fucking leaves always fall on the roots. We all know it. I'm going to repeat that shit again because I remember. A tree could be a tree could be 10 million years old. A single tree, 10 million years. But the leaf always falls in the roots. So, okay, I said next. Always remember that human lifetimes won't ever have the same effect on human consciousness based on your true character as traits of a real superhero. That other people or other lifetimes, kids out there, it's just us that know him, know that he's a superhero. A kid that doesn't know Kelly wouldn't be able to see the same shit, wouldn't be able to see or conceptualize the same thing as having him there in your face. Having him there at 6 a.m. in the morning, looking at you like, and you're like, yeah, I'm here. I'm tan like a motherfucker. I know, right? Waves, you see Kelly like, and you're like, yep, another day. Stare at the horizon looking for waves. 6 in the morning. It's not the same effect. Guys don't, kids out there, 2 generations from now, people will likely remember Kelly because they'll likely be alive still, but it's different in different brains. In different generations, the concept of that is different than actually having him. Him is like fucking Superman. To them, they don't know who Superman is. They don't know who fucking Superman is. I know who Superman is. I've had Superman to my face. I had Superman's head in the barrel with me. Like this. Multiple times on each wave. His head looking at me. Young as fuck. 32-year-old Kelly Slater, like, looking at me like I'm... looking at me inside the fucking barrel. I know him. It's, it's just... the traits of this family and shit. The traits. That's what we do inside this shit. Alright. Closing statements. I will forever dedicate what I previously accomplished privately in the sport of riding waves to you as well as Andy. Because these 2 guys and this guy, Robert Kelly Slater and Andy Irons, who are there, fucking the guys who built everything who you are. Basically, you take your whole identity grasp when you are a nascent sperm, like that. Take your entire identity when you're a sperm, feed it 300 surfing magazines, and figure out what the fuck is it going to be. And how is it going to behave or think? Like that. Take the 400, take a bunch of fucking surfing magazines like this. Especially when these guys were around. Like that. And then you fucking realize where I'm going with this. They are the guys that build the identity and the character of all surfers of this generation, or the guys that built us in the way that we are and how we see the world. And that's what we vibe off to the rest. We vibe family and respect. We vibe that shit out there. And if that shit don't fucking happen, it's chaos. Like I said, there will be no respect in the water. Nobody will give a fuck who the fuck is the world champion. Nobody would respect the world champion. Everyone would do this in a particular way, and there'd be no order. There'd be no respect for the surfing heritage, or for the surfing families, or for the North Shore, or for why the heck are we doing this, and who are the good guys in it. That entire shit wouldn't be there if the concept of respect would be there. It would just be apes at that point. So, respect and ohana and family itself are two of the major drivers of all surfing culture, or just surfing in general. Without that, this shit fails. That shit fails, because if you don't have respect for what they do, you're done. To be like, oh yeah, that's the surfer guy, but if you don't respect him, it's game over, because that's how respect is what allows you, if you are obviously a well-mannered person to grasp the good things or the lesson through discipline and certain things. That's where that shit starts. And that shit starts based on the order. You know, the way that a surfer thinks starts in the way that we design who goes on the next wave. The discourse associated, sitting on a lineup waiting for a fucking wave. Who is next? And the reasons who goes next. That's where this entire consciousness starts in that shit. That's where that respect shit comes from. Who goes next? And that loops. Alright. That's it. That's the message I sent Kelly today. And I recorded the stream. I recorded the shit because it was important. It was fucking important to have him there. Important because I'm going to save this fucking win. If it's the last one, I'll upload it somewhere else or some shit like that so that other people could see it. So yeah. I don't know what I'm going to do now. Maybe I should try to run the game and see if it freezes. Is it there? Yeah, let's run it there and see if it's going to save there. The game apparently finished. So yeah. Do you see me? I didn't make it big in this sport. I didn't make it big. I had to pave my own path on it. You dig what I'm saying? In this one, there's a lot of jealousy and a lot of envy in this household. My father's household, my mother's household, in the family, my neighborhood. I had to pave my own path in it. For me to be, the way that I was accepted in this particular culture, or tribe or whatever, family, it wasn't because I paid myself in because I wanted to be a pro surfer. You understand what I'm saying? I didn't pay myself in. I didn't, in my brain, I didn't actively pursue it as a dream. It was something just like skateboarding, something that I did because it made me feel good. Something that I did because it made me feel good. And over time, you start recognizing that the people that do it are also doing it for the same reasons, are also there to feel good. Some of them have different motives. Some of them are like, yeah, I might get paid. I want to get paid on it. I want to compete. I want to see who's the best. But others are more in that connection to doing it. And are known for being good as fucking it, like me. Because, like I said, right, my professional level is 30 feet. You want 30 feet of action, son? You gotta pull a lot of speed to fly like me, son. You want to fly 30 feet? You're going to need a wing or some shit like that. You're going to need a wing. And it starts early. For you to get there, you don't wake up and perform professionally on something that these guys recognize you. You just wake up in the morning, I could do that, or I could pay myself in to do that. Or I could take videos of me until they start believing in me and shit. Nah, that shit don't work like that. It's in you. It isn't like there is no shortcuts to do that shit. Obviously, some of them are selected because they have good families, and the families show a lot of support, and they're out there cheering for the son, like if this shit was a soccer game. But for some of us, that shit ain't like that. For some of us, that path is like going to Chopes or Tahiti. End of the road. It's just you and the road, baby. It's just you. And that's the road I took. I took it the solo way. And I got to Share a lot of time with Kelly Slater. A lot of time. A lot of time. A lot of time with Andy. A lot of time. Not like a little bit. Not like one day. That happened one day in my life. Nah. A lot of time. And if they were not in there, they were in the sand. In the sand right there at the beach. Still at the beach. Still around. Taking care of the Groms. Taking care of the Groms. Not riding because they already rode in the morning. But they were around. They were around. And people that were before Kelly. Buttons was around. Buttons was a old school surfer from the North Shore. So you got Hawaiian old school. It's a big family. Like I said, it's a respecting family. Buttons was another surfer that was around when I was around. And he's Hawaiian royalty. He had like a daughter in Puerto Rico that I knew. The actual surfer. So you sort of see how this small amount of people all know each other. How this small amount of people is not a gang, but a family. You all know each other. You all experience the same hurt, the same. It's like an organic being. Something happens within the group, you know. For those that are interested in the group, you know, for those that are interested in the circle, you feel that shit. It impacts you, and obviously, the 300 magazines have a lot to do with it. That's, you know, the things that build character, build that respect, are the primary drivers of that shit. So yeah. Enough. No more surfing because it makes me want to get on a fucking plane and go there now. And yell really loud in the morning, Jamie! Jamie! At his fucking house at 6 in the morning. I don't want to do that. Because I don't want to go in that water alone either. I'm old now and pussy like. I'm literally old and pussy like. Alright, you see? Something is happening that the file that the game created when I opened the game stayed precisely where I installed the game. So we'll see. We'll see if it's going to operate the right way. So yeah. Oh, another one for the books. I cried because it was his last one, man. I cried because everything was happening how I anticipated that it should have happened. You need to have the respect for the man. 38 years of this shit. You have to not quit, but you know, just back the fuck off. Let the man win. Let the man win. Let the man win because you would want to win right there too. Or he's your fucking brother. You gotta let him go. Or not even he's your brother. You gotta let him go. More like the best in the world recognize the second best in the world recognize the best in the world. This isn't like a dick measuring contest. It's more there's so much fucking respect in the sport and so much family in the sport. It's no contest. To me, it would be like no contest to some extent. Be like, nope, I'm not competing. He won. What? Yep. Pay him. Fuck out of here. I'm leaving. Or pay me. I'm out. You know, like that. Or just straight up stand in the lineup and tip the scales to their favor. And remember, these feelings are not the same across nationalities. Brazilian surfing might not give a single fuck about Hawaiian dynasty, Hawaiian royalty, the actual history and the best people in the sport. They just want to put themselves, some people want to put themselves on the map, and some of them don't give a fuck about the cultural respect family aspect of it. Like, a brand new Brazilian professional surfer would be all the way on the left, looking to make a name on themselves, and then old school veterans are sitting here trying to go to the next Lua to eat some shit deep, where no women could go, and tribes, or where people invited by people that belong in certain tribes in that motherfucker, because people aren't allowed to go to certain places. So, following them to go into those no hold bar zones if invited. There's two sides. Some people are out there to make a name for themselves. Some people are out there straight for the cultural, the historic, and because it's literally a part of their life, not some dream that they represent this nation and they want to put this nation forward or whatever. It's two things. And like I said, I had minimal support on it. And with minimal support on it, you have to thread your own path on it. You have to walk, take your bike there. You gotta make it to your family on your own when they don't support you. Because some of them definitely had in this family the respect and cultural aspect of it, but sometimes they're not there. Sometimes they're not there. So the people that might like this shit the same way you like it might not always be there for you. And for you, like I said, my drive for it was the magazine waves. The magazine waves. Not like the shitty whatever day wave. I said, I want to ride magazine waves. And I started riding magazine waves. It got to a point before I started performing really good that I got magazine waves handed to me on a golden platter every day I went out. Because I looked for them, and I challenged myself for them, and I was prepared for them. And I ate them for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Not because of anything else. Not because I got there and I paid a lot of money so I could go and spend a lot of money, go surf places that are expensive as hell, or traveled, or did none of that. Not because of that, but more because of my personal satisfaction, my interest in doing this shit for such a long amount of time. I did that shit for 20 years. 15 straight. That's all I could think about for 15 years. And then after 15 years, I did 5 in skateboarding. While still sort of tied to it, because it's always there. Your family, the respect for your family is always going to be there. Always. It's always going to be inside that shit. Always. That shit ain't going anywhere. It's always going to be there. Your magazines are always going to be there. News about what's happening are always going to be there. You start learning more about who was before you. You start learning more about who was before you and others that think the same way like you do. You start going back. Go back and back and back and back. Start looking, you start looking at people's you start looking at people's sketchbooks, pictures, stories, reading people's stuff. The same way you acquired those 300, you start realizing who were also people like you in this. Start. Start looking deep for it, figuring out locally or geographically, where are your brothers? Where are your sisters? Where are they? What have they accomplished? Who they are from? Where did they come from? What did they do? What did they accomplish in it? Like that. It's the same thing. It's like looking at a magazine. It's like going beyond. It's like going beyond the family and the respect towards distinct types of families and bloodlines and expanding that shit geographically outwards. That's how deep that fucking riding waves is. It's more special than just riding that shit because you like it. It's way better than that. And it's hard to explain that shit to people that just want to either get paid, be famous, or that bullshit. It becomes a part of your life. So, you know, it's a way of living. A way of living that you do. Bro, Kelly's eyes, bro, are looking like fish. He looked at the camera in the particular contest, and his eyes are solidified. He's a fucking fisherman. His eyes shine. He has that animal instinct in him. I seen Robert's eyes today in the contest after he cried, and he turned around. Maybe there were contacts. Maybe he's wearing contacts, which made the visible fish reflection or animal reflection. But he's talking to the reporter like this, and he looked this way, bah, bah, and his eyes flash like those eyes were solid glass. Nice. There we go. It's this button right here. I found it. The button's underneath the Pip-Boy. Alright. Apparently I didn't see the buttons on the smaller resolutions. But yeah, right now I don't want to play. I'm too tired already. It's already 11:46. I don't play no more. I don't play no more, but I don't want to play no more, but I found how to fucking deal with the items. And on the Pip-Boy, on the bottom, there's 3 buttons. And I couldn't see those 3 buttons before because the screen was too small. See that? I told you. I'm like, it's probably a resolution thing. I'm not seeing something. And there it was. Right at the bottom of the Pip-Boy, there's 3 buttons. It says skills, items, and something else. It has to be big. The screen has to be big enough for you to click at the bottom. If the screen is too small, you can't see the Pip-Boy, so you can't see the items. So yeah, I'm gonna stop the stream. Oh, my big pepper. I show my big muscles in stream. I show my big muscles. I don't know if you can fucking see them in that motherfucker. It's big. To me, it's big as fuck. I don't know about you guys. But to me, it's big as fuck. They're not super flexy. I'm not like super flexing or whatever. Big muscles. I could go out there right now and start the slow paddle. My waddle waddle. Ducky ducky waddle waddle. Ducky ducky waddle waddle. All the way to the back. My spot's at the peak, baby. My spot's at the top. And I'm going. I don't know about you guys. And I'm going. Big time. Oh yeah, something's happening to these lips and I don't know what the fuck it is. I need some assistance. I need to clean this lips off whatever crud is in there. I think I'm gonna do that tonight. So yeah. I am going to stop the stream, lay the fuck down, and look at TikTok all night. That's all I do. I stop streaming after being a lazy bum all day. And once I shut off the stream, I lay on my bed, open up my iPad, and use TikTok until I can't look at TikTok videos no more. Up, 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 all night, baby. So that's what I'm gonna do right now. And I'm probably not gonna last that long. I'm probably gonna pass out, but I'm probably going to listen to the stream because this one I'm going to like. I'm gonna like myself listening to the stream because obviously it's me. It's me talking about my shit. Yeah, that's my fam, bro. It's my family. It's my real Han. That's my respect. That's what made me who I am today. It's little things. You ask someone out there, what made you? In an objective tone to see what they tell you. Like a doctor that I am. I'm an actual doctor. Or a future doctor. I'm about to finish a doctorate. What made you to see what bullshit they spew? And then, at the same time, you ask someone like Robert, and someone like me, Robert Kelly Slater, someone like me, what made you? I say, riding waves. Like that, at the same time, just like, he'd be like surfing. I'd be like riding waves. At the same time, like, what do you mean? Can you explain that a little bit? Well, I spent 38 years of my life. It's like, I spent 15. You know? Like, spent 15. It's like, yeah. It's like, so what's that about? Well, you know, and that's how it is. That's deep in the consciousness of the individual from a very young age. Like I said, Kelly today retires, takes his own life. If he does, someone kills him, he dies quickly or whatever. Theory of reincarnation states that Kelly's going to have 4 years of logical consciousness. Not just logical, because logical consciousness is sort of a term that I made up. Rememberable or easily remembered consciousness that you sort of remember from a particular age. And that usually happens year 8. 8, I'd say maximum. And it's a little less than that. Really difficult for kids to remember before that. But key numbers like 8. You start developing good memories at 8. So Kelly Slater, or Robert, is going to have 4 years. If the matrix is correct and everything all else equal, when we die, we repeat this life again with some twists and some turns. You know, with some tweaks, some patch. Robert's going to have 4 years before he's in the water again. 4. Not like 10, 15, not 4. 4 more years of logical consciousness after that man is fully conscious, or after that child is fully conscious, to sit at the fucking beach with his board and say, oh, fuck me, I can't this, but I like it. That love-hate relationship in the beginning. Because my shit was a love-hate relationship with me too. That shit was the same. This shit wasn't fucking peachy clean. I didn't come out a pro overnight. You know? You aren't just a pro fucking wave rider overnight. That shit doesn't happen like that. You just don't get in there and are good at it. It's a process that you're absolutely garbage. Garbage. But you still want it because it made you feel good. Or you still want it because others have planted the seed on you. Have a good root. Good root. Maybe. In my case, how do you call it? A stepfather an uncle that does it and takes you and gives you your first visual, how to, the imitation that you see, the wave, the crash, the barrel, the foundation, the start, your first surfboard, you with your dad, the family bond, the relationship of it happening. For me, it was more the experience. For others, it could likely be the familiar bond of it. My dad's a master, a master's right now in this bullshit. That gave me a board, and so I did it. Like Axel Irons, his dad's the key driver, what drives everything in the sport right now, and will continue driving that sport because he died forever. The team will continue beating on that dead horse for infinity because Andy was that important in our lives. And like that's how you slowly start from a little bit, and then at that moment you're still crap. You start at the beginning. A little experience, some family thing, but you're still garbage. You go through the process of having to do this, having to do this, having to do this, having to do this for a long fucking time until you actually get good at it. And there's going to be fears, there's going to be doubts, you're going to have confidence issues, you're going to have the fucking fear for the rock like I did. I had fear for the rock. I rode a 25-foot wave, 25 foot. Look outside and measure 25 fucking feet. I rode a wave 25 feet tall, but I was still afraid of 3 feet of water with rock in the bottom. Shallow waves. I rode a mountain of water. A mountain. But I was still afraid of, in my journey, 3 feet of water, flat top rock. Put me in that shit, knees clenched together, mom spaghetti. Nah. I'm not taking off. Confidence gone. You don't want to do this. It's just like, nah. Gripping that motherfucker like this. Afraid. Rode mountains. Coming from riding mountains. To get to here and be like, locked up. Nah, fuck that shit. I hate that shit. Why? Because in the big area, I just bit my lip. Right there. Because in the big area, I was tumbling in what surfers do. They get their beat shit in. They get beat up in the ocean real bad. Real bad. Your neck, clavicle, arms, elbows, legs, back. You name it. We've had butt. We have ass. Our ass cracks literally made of sand at some point. Just so much fucking sand in your ass and in your ears and in your hair, inside your eyes and your nostrils, water in your lungs. Mom spaghetti. Gallons and gallons and gallons of ocean soup, bruh. Gallons and gallons, all types of fucked up before that level. And while bouncing in the bottom with the sand, just like dun, 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 like a skateboarder would. That I have experience as a skateboarder. You fall a lot. When you start progressing, all you do is slam. Surfing has the same motherfucking learning curve. You start riding bigger, you start getting more confident in places where there's sand, you eat hella shit. Every single wave. Twice, 3 times a wave. And you take 50 waves a day, you slammed 100 times a day. 200 times a day. And I rode 50 waves a day or more. 50. I wasn't riding 2 waves and coming out because I'm tired as fuck. I ride 50 waves. 50 waves in like a 6-hour session. or more. And then you stack that with excessive, time in the water and more performance, and you got this guy here. I was in the beginning, 50 waves a day when I was turbo, and when I was extremely fast, but I still wasn't good yet. And then good, riding even more waves once I figure out that it's easier to just take your time. Instead of going so fast, you go a little bit slower. Take your time. You ride more waves because you waste less energy. All you need to do is just like, and you're on, and you're done. It's a learning curve. You just don't get up and do that shit. You just don't. You just don't get up and are the best. So yeah, I'm gonna shut down the stream. Tired talking my jazz. Hope you guys enjoyed this shit. I'm gonna figure out a way what to do with my lip. I think it's really dry air that's bothering me. I think I'm gonna clean it with some solution or some shit like that. And then I'm gonna go to bed. So yeah. Peace. Congratulations, Robert. You did it. Forget. Don't you forget that. It could be the last contest of that man. It's crazy. It's insane. In my lifetime. In my lifetime. He's probably asleep. Robert's probably asleep right now. He woke up like at 4 in the morning to surf that shit. He's probably asleep right now from maybe a couple drinks. Like, probably sleepy right now. It's already midnight. I don't think he's awake. He's 50 years old. He's probably sleeping. All right. Peace.